From campy rubber suit to full-blown horror, the Gorn are back and deadlier than ever. But what's their ultimate evolution, and how might it change everything? Stick around to find out. Hey everyone, it's David from Sci-Finatics, and today we're diving into one of Star Trek's most iconic and more recently terrifying villains, the Gorn. With the highly anticipated Strange New Worlds Season 3 premiere just a mere weeks away, it seems like the perfect time to catch up on everything Gorn. We'll explore how a relatively simple alien from a 1960s original series episode became one of the most horrifying threats in modern Star Trek. So, let's crack into it. Our journey begins with the original series Season 1 episode Arena, which introduced the Gorn to the Star Trek universe. This saw the Enterprise arrive after an attack on a Federation outpost by an unknown species called the Gorn. After the Enterprise pursues the Gorn ship into an uncharted area of space, a powerful race called the Metrons intervene, forcing Captain Kirk and the captain of the Gorn vessel into this primitive one-on-one combat to decide their ship's fates. The Gorn are introduced as a formidable warp-capable spacefaring reptilian species, immediately identifiable by their large, green scaly bodies, bipedal stance, and compound eyes, similar to the eyes that flies have, for example. They possess immense physical strength and durability, enabling them to easily overpower a human like Captain Kirk and withstand significant blunt force, such as a styrofoam boulder, for example. However, their movements are notably slow and deliberate, a characteristic Kirk exploits to his advantage during their forced combat. While they initially appear as antagonists due to their unprovoked attack on a Federation outpost, this act is later understood as a defensive measure, stemming from their perception that the Federation outpost is an incursion into Gorn territory. The development of the Gorn for the original series envisaging the Gorn as a formidable lizard-like creature, standing at some 6'4", possessing immense musculature, a thick scaly hide, a wide mouth and sharp teeth, and even a prehensile tail, though it wasn't explicitly visible in the final on-screen costume. The script included details like tiny ear holes, glittering eyes, and a voice conveyed via a Metron communicator that was described as harsh whistling and hissing, which was portrayed by Ted Cassidy. In reality, though, it sounded like Ted might have been suffering from, I guess, a bit of a chronic sore throat, and he was pretty pissed about not being able to get his hands on some soothing throat lozenges. The creature's sluggish and lumbering movements weren't merely a narrative choice, but a direct result of the elaborate costume designed by Star Trek legend Wah Chang. This thick rubber costume, featuring large unyielding muscles, restricted actors like veteran stuntman Bobby Clark, making agility almost impossible, transforming a practical limitation into the Gorn's distinctive brute force style and cementing its memorable, if I guess a little comical, presence in Star Trek lore. It's also worth mentioning that the Gorn and Bill Shatner faced off again, arena style, in a trailer for Star Trek the video game back in 2013. Given their combined ages, that rematch was a little bit less arena and a bit more retirement home shuffle. The Gorn's appearances remained fairly limited for decades, but they did pop up in animated and mirror universe tales, largely in the first incarnation of the creatures designed from Arena. In the animated series episode The Time Trap, a Gorn is seen serving as an Elysian counselor, hinting at a future where they could potentially coexist peacefully with other aliens. Lower Decks, on the other hand, takes a bit more of a lighter approach, showing the Gorn as background civilians, such as a chef on a starbase, and even at a chaotic Gorn wedding in the episode Veritas, suggesting a bit more of an integration into the wider galactic community by the 24th century. During the Enterprise era, we see the Gorn feature in the episode In a Mirror Darkly Part II, where they're reinvented as a formidable and cunning adversary, significantly more agile than their original depiction. These Gorn exhibit an instinctive aversion to cold and a preference for warmer temperatures. The Mirror Universe Gorn, exemplified by the character Sla in this episode, is portrayed as highly intelligent, capable of crippling advanced starships, like the original series Constitution class Defiant, by stealing vital components. Their physical prowess is evident in their ability to ambush and swiftly incapacitate heavily armed Makos with ease, with Mirror Phlox even likening them to velociraptors due to their speed, size, and bite radius. This leads me to wonder why good old Space Barney back in Arena simply just didn't bite a chunk out of Kirk, given there were plenty of opportunities to do so, bringing the contest to a bit of a sudden conclusion. I guess Space Barney just wasn't hungry that day. The decision to reintroduce the Gorn into Enterprise was a bit of a long debated one, primarily due to concerns about violating established continuity from Captain Kirk's first encounter, and also the questionable creature effects of the original Gorn. However, the Mirror Universe storyline provided the perfect narrative bypass, allowing for a modernized interpretation. The Enterprise Gorn were almost entirely a CGI creation, a significant departure from the typical man-in-a-suit approach of the past. This allowed for greater freedom of movement, transforming the once lumbering alien into a swift and dangerous hunter. This modernised design incorporated concept art by Dan Curry, sculpted maquettes, motion capture of stunt coordinator Vance Dedrick Jr., and even specially designed Gorn gloves by Michael Westmore's makeup effects department for close-up shots. All of this resulted in a visually updated yet still recognisable version of this classic alien. Staying within alternative universes, the Gorn were slated to appear in the 2009 Star Trek film set in the Kelvin timeline. A Gorn was amongst the alien creatures sculpted for the Ruripente prison scenes. However, director J.J. Abrams ultimately cut this footage, preferring to focus on newer alien designs. In Discovery, a Gorn skeleton is shown in Captain Lorca's private menagerie on the USS Discovery in the episode Context is for Kings, which was a deliberate narrative clue. Executive producer Aaron Harbitz revealed it hinted at Lorca's mirror universe origin, as the Federation hadn't encountered the Gorn in the Prime Universe at that point. Moving into the Strange New Worlds era, we've seen the Gorn feature as a recurring threat. Season 1's Memento Mori depicts a desperate, suspenseful ship-to-ship battle for survival after a ruthless Gorn attack on a Federation colony on Phoenibus 3, forcing the Enterprise crew to employ rather unconventional tactics to escape destruction. Later in Season 1's All Those Who Wander, we see an Enterprise away team investigating the crashed USS Peregrine on the desolate planet Valeo Beta 5. This episode marks the first time viewers physically see the Gorn in Strange New Worlds, as the team discovers the ship overrun by these rapidly growing and highly aggressive Gorn hatchlings, leading to a desperate fight for survival and, unfortunately, a tragic sacrifice before the episode's end. Strange New Worlds reintroduces the Gorn, transforming them from their original rubber-suited appearance into a truly terrifying and persistent threat. This reimagining employs a sophisticated blend of practical effects and CGI, with legacy effects crafting an intricate full-body spacesuit for the adult Gorn, while digital enhancements added dynamic movements to features like their powerful tails. Co-founder of Legacy Effects, J. Allen Scott, primarily designed this new look to the Gorn, which also included what the adult Gorn would look like underneath the spacesuit, so they had a point of reference, although we haven't seen this on screen to date. This hybrid approach ensured a tangible on-set presence for the actors to react to, while allowing for the necessary veracity and scale in action sequences. The showrunners have deliberately amplified the Gorn's monstrous qualities, establishing them as an irredeemable force of nature. This terrifying nature is deeply rooted in their brutal life cycle, which, pardon the pun, has been fleshed out more within the Strange New Worlds era. Gorn eggs are parasitic, incubating inside humanoid hosts, not dissimilar to how parasitic wasp species operate. The maturation is terrifyingly fast, taking mere days in humans and longer in some other species. When ready, the hatchlings violently burst forth from their host's body. Newly emerged, these quadrupedal younglings are white in colour, rapidly turning green as they ferociously feed and grow, shedding their skin. They're incredibly fast, strong, and possess prehensile tails, exhibiting extreme aggression even towards their own kind, ensuring that only the fittest survive. They can spit blinding venom that also infects new hosts with eggs. Both Gorn eggs and hatchlings are invisible to sensors and resistant to telepathy, making them elusive and deadly hunters. Adult Gorn maintain chilling breeding planets where warm-blooded sentient beings are deposited as breeding sacs, or flesh bags as Lan puts it, or food, perpetuating their savage biological cycle. Now, humans being on the Gorn's galactic gourmet menu reminds me of another sci-fi franchise about lizards who are rather partial to indulging earthlings on their dinner plates.
In addition to the water, there's another basic shortage on our planet. Food.
Now, the reimagined Gorn in Strange New Worlds share striking resemblances to the xenomorphs from the Alien franchise, particularly in their horrific life cycles. Both species are defined by parasitic reproduction. Gorn eggs are implanted into hosts, with hatchlings violently bursting forth after rapid incubation, directly paralleling the xenomorph's infamous facehugger to chestburster process. In both scenarios, the host is completely destroyed, and furthermore, the Gorn's use of breeding planets to acquire breeding sacs or food echoes the xenomorph's hive-centric, host-dependent reproduction cycle, highlighting a shared, chilling biological imperative focused on propagation of the species through forced incubation and predation. Beyond reproduction, both are presented as terrifyingly effective predators driven by instinct. The Gorn hatchlings are depicted as incredibly fast, strong and aggressive, employing stealth and cunning, much like the agile, relentless xenomorphs. Both creatures are visually unsettling, rather like the wet dreams of H.R. Giger, and are designed to evoke a deep deep visceral feariness. Gorn technology in Strange New Worlds, and that portrayed in the original series Arena episode, is largely shown as being somewhat on par with Starfleet's, making them a formidable adversary. Their shields are remarkably robust, capable of withstanding significant initial phaser and photon torpedo barrages. Their disruptor weapons are highly effective, described as akin to phasers, but even more devastating. They also possess transporter technology and voice duplicators. While their sensor technology might be less precise than the Federation's, they cleverly compensate by homing in on tricorder signals to pinpoint and bracket targets with powerful ground-based disruptors. The Gorn's technological prowess is distinctly showcased in their starship designs as well, which are nearly as fast as Constitution-class starships. Their smaller, agile combat vessel, the Gorn Hunter, conceptually mirrors the Chig fighters from the 1990s series Space Above and Beyond, which were engineered for swift, aggressive engagements. In stark contrast, the larger Gorn destroyer boasts a more irregular, asymmetrical design, reminiscent of Breen warships from DS9, or even the derelict Juggernaut spaceships from the Alien franchise that we mentioned earlier. This non-conventional approach to starship architecture not only underscores their alien nature, but also visually distinguishes them. Furthermore, Season 3 production stills hint a rather unique style of organic interior decorating, if you like entrails instead of curtains, reminding me of the ominous red weed that was dispersed from the Martian war machines from the 2005 War of the Worlds film. So now onto the intense Strange New Worlds Season 2 finale, Hegemony, which features a devastating Gorn attack on the Federation colony Parnassus Beta. This leads to a fierce ship-to-ship battle and the destruction of the USS Cayuga, which is a Constitution-class vessel like the Enterprise. Despite Starfleet's strict non-intervention orders, Captain Pike defies them to launch a daring rescue after the Gorn claim this region of space with a demarcation line that runs through the system. The crew discovers a Gorn device on Parnassus Beta, which I guess wouldn't help you if you're trying to get good mobile reception, but this device jammed all transporter capabilities and communication efforts, forcing Team Enterprise to give it a bit of an early retirement by crashing the wreckage of the Cayuga's saucer section into it. This episode also marks the first appearance of a young Montgomery Scott, who escaped the Gorn from a neighbouring system which was also attacked, and he also lends a hand in the rescue attempt. Hegemony concludes with a classic TNG-style cliffhanger, leaving several main characters in perilous situations. After being rescued, Captain Patel reveals she's been infested with Gorn eggs and is immediately placed in stasis upon returning to the Enterprise. Spock and Chapel also make it back to the Enterprise after a brutal fight with an adult Gorn aboard the derelict Cayuga saucer. Scotty salvages a device that could help them hide from the Gorn. However, the Enterprise is severely damaged during combat and is outnumbered as a Gorn destroyer and more ships enter orbit. To complicate matters, Uhura receives Starfleet orders for immediate withdrawal, despite Spock's grim discovery that captured human colonists, including Lan, M'Benga, Ortegas, and Sam Kirk, have been beamed aboard the Gorn destroyer. The Enterprise is facing an impossible choice. Since then, we've got a 3-minute sneak peek of Hegemony Part 2, which picks up from where the cliffhanger left off. The Enterprise uses its deflector array to disrupt communications between the attacking Gorn ships, and with the direct retrieval of their people impossible due to the Gorn ship's transport resistance, the Enterprise opts for a bit of a retreat and rescue strategy. This involves ramming the Gorn destroyer, colliding shields essentially, then firing a dud torpedo with a rare element into the destroyer itself, allowing it to be tracked through light years of space. The Enterprise then warps out to rendezvous with Starfleet. So how might the rest of Hegemony Part 2 play out? Despite Starfleet's prior reluctance to engage the Gorn, likely due to being in a weakened state after the Klingon War, the assembling of ships and the arming with Gorn protocol boxes indicates a bit of a shift to a more of a prepared stance. The Federation's keen interest in understanding the Gorn, rather than just simply reacting impulsively, points towards a bit more of a deeper exploration of their biology and behaviour, moving beyond the initial assumption it's just simple aggression. This could be crucial to Starfleet's attempt in reaching some common ground or understanding. The attention will likely focus on the survival of Lan, M'Benga, Ortegas, and Sam Kirk, stranded on the Gorn vessel. Lan's experience with the Gorn and M'Benga's combat experience within the Klingon War would be crucial for protecting themselves and the colonists until rescue arrives. Rescue might even lead to a solution for Captain Patel's if M'Benga uncovers something from their time in captivity. The episode could also delve into Captain Pike's moral dilemma, reflecting a little of Kirk's journey in Arena as he grapples with the Gorn's horrific treatment of sentient life against Admiral April's more calmer call for understanding. There was also this time slowing effect around Pike just before the Enterprise warped away, and that could suggest maybe a connection connection with the Barath time crystal, offering some sort of unique perspective or future possibilities influencing Pike's decisions under pressure. The narrative may also build towards a resolution that, while not necessarily a peaceful outcome, offers a pathway for a fragile understanding between the Federation and the Gorn. Well folks, that concludes our exploration of the Gorn and catch up around Strange New Worlds Hegemony episode. I hope you enjoyed it and are looking forward to seeing Strange New Worlds Season 3 return in a few weeks' time. I certainly am. Let us know what your thoughts are on how things might play out in Hegemony Part 2. What are you looking forward to? What are your thoughts on how the Gorn have been developed within the Strange New Worlds era? Let's get the conversation started. Until next time folks, live long and prosper, and bye for now.